Welcome back. Join me while I break down another movie plot. Enjoy the memories and watch out for spoilers. In typical zombie fashion, an outbreak got out of hand and the entire world's now a wasteland of rot. Within a triangle peninsula, survivors established the last known city bordered on two sides by rivers, and fortified on the third by military guarding an electrified fence in what they call the throat. Since the undead can't swim and they seem to be learning to stay away from the fence, the city's militia rarely have to deal with any zombie threats. The wealthy live in a skyscraper overlooking the city called Fiddler's Green, a community living arrangement containing shopping malls, restaurants, cinemas, the works. The movie begins in a small run-down town just ripe for the looting. A raiding party's gathering supplies under the command of Riley, supported by his custom-built heavily armored $2 million war machine named Dead Reckoning. It's Riley's last day on the job and he is training the new guy Mike. They've both noticed recently that the undead are beginning to retain their past memories. Across the way a zombie named Big Daddy notices them spying on him and seemingly shouts orders at his fellow rotters. The two leave and meet up with Riley's closest friend Charlie, who is quick on the trigger and has had half his face burned off. Another team led by the brash Cholo is dumping organic trash for the city, before meeting up with Riley to assist in the raid. Riley warns him about the zombies' increasing intelligence but Cholo just brushes it off. Dead Reckoning's operated by Pretty Boy, who as anchor set off what the humans call skyflowers to draw the braindead's attention. This allows them to move freely slaughtering zombies and looting the stores, while Big Daddy sees his fellow man mesmerized by the fireworks and spends the time trying to snap them out of it. Against Riley's wishes Cholo makes an unnecessary stop at a liquor store with his boy Foxy, hoping to make some extra cash back home. While reaching for some champagne, Cholo is attacked by a zombie but manages to use his calf-mounted spear gun to put it down. In a grumpy mood he tells Mike to pick up some cigars from behind a counter but a zombie jumps up and bites the rope. The doomed man stumbles outside just as his team shows up, and Riley puts the zombie down. Cholo attempts to kill Mike before he turns but he snatches Riley's pistol and does it himself. The firework launcher suddenly jams, so Dead Reckoning uses its side-mounted heavy machine guns to clear the streets while the team wrap it up. As they're all leaving, Big Daddy tries grab a rider but just manages to take his gun, then chucks it over his shoulder and leads a zombie army in the same direction. The humans enter the city through an underground tunnel and Riley angrily confronts Cholo about Mike's death. Cholo hopes to one day retire to Fiddler's Green but Riley tells him that the rich snobs will never allow an outsider to live with them. So Cholo takes the case of booze that he nearly died for, and the cigars that Mike did for, and goes to the tower to suck up to its owner. After walking through the luxurious Fiddler's Green's mall, Cholo reaches the top floor to find a man who has hung himself in his apartment. While his grieving wife distracts the man trying to help, her husband reanimates and attacks his son. After Cholo bashes the newborn zombie's brain in, he leaves the widow with security and her now bitten boy to clean up the mess. He goes next door to his employer Kaufman, the owner and manager of the tower and the recipient of his presents. Cholo tells him that he has raised enough money to buy a place in Fiddler's Green himself but first needs Kaufman's approval. The millionaire tells him that there's a long wait list but Cholo sees through his crap, as it really means he isn't worthy. Kaufman then brings in security telling him that he will no longer need Cholo's services, but before he can kill the once loyal employee Cholo disarms and knocks him out. Back down on the ground, Riley and Charlie go to the slums and give meds to a homeless man for his sick son, then head to a garage where Riley discovers his car's missing.
Right there.
Having invested all his money into the vehicle in hopes of leaving town and never coming back, he goes to an underground casino to speak with the owner Chihuahua, but he claims to have no knowledge of the car and goes to see what he can find out. The partygoers bet on death matches between zombies painted red and black, where they usually use dogs but this time throw in a street girl named Slack to put the zombies in a frenzy. She fends them off while the bettors cheer for her demise, until eventually Riley sees what's going on and shoots the two zombies dead. The crowd begin to leave the casino in a panic while Chihuahua tries to take a shot at Charlie, but he is saved by Riley who shoots him. The little guy gets up and tries to shoot Riley but Slack saves him and takes a bullet to the arm. Before he gets away Charlie pulls out his rifle and lands a very low headshot on Chihuahua. The police soon arrive and throw all three in the slammer together. Explaining why she was thrown in the cage, Slack says that Kaufman runs everything from the legal to the criminal in town and tried to have her killed for helping one of his rivals. Charlie tells her that the reason he's so loyal to Riley is that he's the one who pulled him from the fire. Meanwhile the zombie horde reaches a barricade, so Big Daddy signals to the butcher to chop through it with his meat cleaver. He hacks away a hole big enough for Big Daddy to peek through it, and he sees a bunch of his fellow Zeds hanging upside down as target practice, with his own target in the distance. After not getting what he wants, Cholo and Mouse find Foxy and they all decide to steal Dead Reckoning from a checkpoint outside of the city with the help of Pretty Boy. Big Daddy suddenly appears and kills the lookout. Then with the horde of zombies they lean on and bring down the fence. They begin to tear the soldiers apart while Cholo and the crew take Dead Reckoning and leave them to die, as Big Daddy recognizes the vehicle and squeezes off a few shots in its direction. Cholo calls Kaufman and holds the people of Fiddler's Green for ransom. He demands $5 million or he will blow the rich from their homes with Dead Reckoning's cannons, so Kaufman tells Cholo what he wants to hear, then bails Riley out of jail to help. He put up the funding for Dead Reckoning himself and tells Riley to bring it and Cholo back dead or alive. In return for this, Riley demands a car with plenty of weapons for him and his team to leave town, which Mr. K accepts. To wait for the money to arrive, Mouse is dropped off at the port while the truck does the runaround and avoids capture. Slack and Charlie are released from jail and are fitted for the mission by Kaufman's men. Since he doesn't trust Riley to not just steal Dead Reckoning for himself, he sends Monolete, Motown, and the Super Samoan Pillsbury to assist.
Just do something.
They head to the checkpoint and see the result of the zombie massacre that took place, including the direction the horde is heading. Motown attempts to hotwire a vehicle while the rest of the team watch her back, except Riley and Monolete, who go searching for keys and supplies. They find what's left of the soldiers feasting on their buddies' remains and methodically headshot each one of them. As they protect Motown, Charlie and Slack trade accurate life-saving shots back and forth while clipping each other's ears with their bullets. When they get the car started and the others get back, a Pez dispenser of a zombie throws its head forward and takes a chunk out of Monolete's arm, but Charlie puts it down and they escape. Driving down the road, Riley reveals he had a younger brother who was bitten and turned within the hour. So Slack turns around and headshots the bitten Monolete before he has time to turn. Secretly, a tracking device was placed on Dead Reckoning, which is Riley's trick to finding it. In the first deal he has ever broken, Riley holds the mercenaries at gunpoint and tells them that once they find Dead Reckoning he's going to take it. With the options of agreeing or being left on the side of the road to be somebody's dinner, they agree. With minutes left until the deadline of midnight, Mouse informs Cholo that the money hasn't arrived, so they load up Dead Reckoning's launchers. The scared Mouse suddenly freaks out when a zombie approaches and shoots it, but it's just the first of many as they swarm the docks and rip him to pieces. Big Daddy and his army have reached their destination and look on bewildered at the skyline, before the big man takes the leap. The others follow him into the river and they all walk across the bottom, slowly emerging at the base of the human city. Before anyone notices them, the silent army fills the streets and begins attacking the residents. The group find Dead Reckoning and Pillsbury decides to flip sides by knocking out Motown and leaving her in the car. While he and Slack cover Riley and Charlie from their flank, they pull the truck over in hopes of sweet-talking Cholo, but he isn't convinced. With the pair at gunpoint, Cholo attempts to fire on the city, but Riley uses the tracking device to deactivate the missiles. Motown has woken up and attempts to shoot at the pair from the bushes, so Riley kicks Cholo out of the way, but he is hit in the stomach. Suddenly a zombie attacks Motown from behind, so Slack shoots her in the head to quiet the screams. Charlie disarms Foxy and they at last regain control of Dead Reckoning. While attempting to flee, Kaufman fills a couple of bags with money, but he is caught by one of the other club members. He pulls the classic, "look out behind you" a zombie trick before shooting him in the back. Riley radios into Kaufman that they have recovered his biggest threat, but the city begins to blow up anyway, as the zombies continue to slaughter the poor humans while making their way to the wealthy. Knowing it wasn't personal, Riley allows Cholo to leave with Foxy in the car, but not 2 minutes pass by before Cholo gets bitten in the hand and infected. He's given the decision of life and death by Foxy, but says that he has always wanted to see how the other side lives. Surprisingly, Foxy takes the car and makes it out of this story alive, while leaving his best friend to go it on foot as he returns to Fiddler's Green. The zombies are using various weapons to hack their counterparts to pieces, while Big Daddy arms Number 9 with a rifle. Another of his lieutenants, Tambourine Man, trades his instrument for something more blunt force trauma as they finally reach the tower. Big Daddy even shows compassion by putting a burning coworker out of his misery, then smashes his way into the tower with a jackhammer and they begin to feast on the snobby shoppers. Some of the people escape the building and make it to the throat, but are trapped between the horde and the electrified fence. The Dead Reckoning isn't far off and uses skyflowers to distract the zombies, but they are beyond that now, and begin to chow down on the survivors. As Kaufman and his servant Nip escape the tower, they cross paths with Big Daddy, so he shoots him, causing the angered zombie to chase them into an underground parking lot. He catches them before they can escape, so Nip runs straight out of this movie, leaving Kaufman by himself with the keys in a bag outside. Big Daddy pours petrol in through a hole in the windshield, then just up and leaves. The confused man gets out of his car to grab the bags and is attacked by Cholo from the shadows. Kaufman shoots him multiple times with what would all be kill shots before he goes down, but Cholo springs back up, having already been turned. Before Cholo can land a bite, Big Daddy rolls a burning propane tank into the gasoline-soaked car, blowing the two to smithereens. Dead Reckoning finally reaches the throat but discovers the fireworks no longer work. With everyone either dead or dying, they fire the rockets upon the amalgamation until nothing is left moving. Slowly the rest of the city emerges, having been hiding around the corner, and approach their saviors. They are planning on rebuilding the city with equal opportunities, while Riley still plans to go north. After a brief scare with a legless hitchhiker that Pillsbury deals with by hand, Riley sees Big Daddy leading his zombies out of the city and decides not to kill them, saying that they are just looking for a place to live. The Dead Reckoning heads for Canada while setting off the Skyflowers, since they now have no use for them. And the movie ends. So you made it. I appreciate your time. I couldn't have done it without you. Tell your mother I said thanks.